with Payback Some Other and The Coolest, both of which are on the bass compilation that everybody should pick up if they haven't already. There, Keith Cooley is killing it on the turntables on there. So leads to a few questions. One, why didn't you want to do your own scratches on your own songs?
I on the album, on the Active Fool album, well, on all my albums, I did a lot of the cuts myself. Well, some of the cuts myself, but that's all DJ Pooh though. It wasn't even Keep Cooley, you know. No,
Really?
Keep Cooley. I just want to keep Cooley because, like I said, DJ Pooh was rocking with the LA Posse at this time and flying back and forth to New York to do LL Cool J and some other projects. And it just, Pooh couldn't be my DJ, so we had to find somebody else. Keep Cooley. I wanted it to be Joe, but Joe was with Rodney O, and he presented us with Keith, and we started rocking with Keith. We put him in the video, but some things happened. It didn't pan out. We just kept moving. Swift popped up.
Yes, Swiftzilla. So with that, now regardless of who's doing the scratching, I always think it's amazing, and I think it's sadly overlooked that in this era, obviously what Pooh and Bobcat in particular brought to Bigger and Deffer on the turntables, and then a lot of the work that you had on your early stuff, there's a lot of scratching. So why, and then Aladdin, of course, is another one, but why do you think, M-Walk, there's so many, why do you think, Bobcat, why do you think so many people don't look at LA for the DJ prowess when there's so many great ones as we see throughout all these records?
Well, I mean, back then, early, like late 80s, early 90s, West Coast was kicking ass as far as DJ. And I think a couple of our DJs went out to the DMC and won, we took home a couple of trophies and things like that. So we had our time, but, it was very much a lot of competition. But I don't know. That's a good question. I watched the Joe Cooley tapes all the time of the championship. Didn't he win that year? I think Joe.
I know he was up there. I can't remember who won every year.
Cash Money.
Yeah, I know Cash Money was killing it too.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I think Aladdin took it one year too.
I know Aladdin won one.
Yeah, so
I will say, I've said this a few times, but I saw Aladdin one time jump over the turntables and turn and keep scratching as he was jumping. And I'd never seen that before that, and I've never seen it since that. He's the only person I've ever seen do that.
Yeah.
That blew me away.
We had our time,
Yeah. And then the B-side on The Coolest was the You Better Bring a Gun with the Mixmaster Spade, the Compton Posse. And with that one, obviously Mixmaster Spade, another pioneer and a great artist, but with you and him being on that song and kind of him doing the second verse and his style, why do you think it worked, his sing-songy stuff versus your kind of more elegant, regal type of flow and delivery?
Well, I mean, that's who, we connected with Spade. Spade and Toddy T was the beginning of everything as far as the Compton situation, and the way Mixmaster Spade did his thing, rap, singing. That was the thing back then. That's what you wanted to be down with. So he was already known and doing his thing. So it was a plus for us to have him on that record. And after that, that's where the whole Compton thing came down. They put me down with the Compton situation. They said, you're now from Compton, because I didn't really have no home. I was all around LA, you know what I'm saying? But that's where it all originated from, the Compton Posse. And Spade was the man. Toddy T and Spade was the man. And it was a plus to have him. I had to have him on the album.
Okay. Yeah, because also on that song too, it's like he's talking about all of his guns he had. You're talking about being in Watts and carjacking and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I think is underlooked or underappreciated, I think, by the masses, but not by people that love you and your work like me, but you're a great storyteller. So Better Bring a Gun is on that. So how and where did you develop that storytelling from?
I wrote that. That's funny. I wrote that, man, I was so young. I just wrote it sitting at my father's kitchen table, man, just and put together little stories I've heard and going, and I think I was living with him at the time in Inglewood, going to Monroe, and it was just kind of crazy going to school in Inglewood and the things I used to see and the little situations I used to get myself into, and also hanging out with once I met Scotty D used to have us everywhere selling sweatsuits and hats and t-shirts. So, we would be in Watts, we would be in, everywhere. And I would just write about things that I seen and witnessed or been through. It was kind of simple, being that young, and I was just able to jot it down and make it rhyme.
Okay.
hanging in the, hanging in the Nickerson Gardens, hanging in the Jordan Downs, or hanging in Compton, and it just all came together.
Yeah, and it's a very big storytelling on there, and it's significant. And the carjacking too, that was if not the first, one of the early references I heard of that type of story on a song.
Yeah, I mean, because I in Inglewood, we actually have gotten jacked. Me and a friend was riding around, and he had an El Camino on Dayton's, and we stopped to get some gas. I went in to pay for the gas, and shit, when I'm walking back out the door, he's walking in the door. We got. So, like I said, experiences and situations.
And what because that's another thing that I think has been a great part of your careers. Like you were saying on Payback Some Mother about the people saying you had big lips and all this other stuff. How did you find the how did you find the comfort or the ease or the confidence to be able to talk about some of the things people looked at you or had dissed you or robbed you or whatever and put that in songs and not be afraid to do that?
Being able to put it together in words of what I was feeling and then hear it back, even much more, hear it on wax, that gave me a lot of pleasure, and it helped me with my insecurity too. You know what I'm saying? And boosted my, I was able to deal with things better. I just expressed myself on the mic.
Okay. And Bass also has the Geniuses Back with the Compton Posse, and you're on there real briefly. But when you hear that song, what kind of memories do you get since you're not on it much?
Well, I mean, I used to just, that's part of Mixmaster Spade's, that was his thing. And me and Pooh always used to be in the studio with him and try to, help him write and things like that. But that was his own label. He just, it was back in the Echo Sound days. And, we just hung out a lot at Echo Sound. You remember Echo Sound?
I do.
Yeah. So it's just, we used to just be around there, and I'd be out and playing basketball in the front, and Spade would come ask me, "Yo, won't you just start the intro?" And it was just easy. It was just things that we just did. There wasn't really no story behind it. Just,
Okay. Gotcha. So then with Act the Fool and getting with Capitol Records, what was the difference you saw with Techno Hop and Mac Daddy versus then getting to Capitol?
Money. We talking about 80, 88, you know, we signed that deal and I'm not going to say how much, you know, I signed for, but it was just like, it was unbelievable. And you gotta understand how young I was, you know what I'm saying? And really not really knowing, not really being able to grasp. I just know I was blessed, and that's what and the professionalism, you know what I'm saying, the you know how they really, you know, Capitol really wanted to take care of me and figure out how to deal with this new thing called hip hop rap. It wasn't even called that back then. I don't know what it was called, you know what I'm saying? But Capitol, you know, as much as they didn't know what to do with me because they didn't have no rap department, wasn't no rap department, wasn't no hip hop department, wasn't, you know, they barely had a R&B. You know, they had R&B, but you know, not really a urban street, you know, department. So they did what they could, but it was much better. We didn't get shit. We didn't get paid from Techno Hop. That was, you know, I think we would see $50 or something like that every 3 months or something like that. He'll drop by and give it. I mean, but you know, props to DJ Unknown. He believed in me. He put us in the studio for 2 singles, and I thank him for that, because that's, you know, I felt that was part of paying my dues.
And with Techno Hop, Ice was obviously on there as well. So did you link up with Ice-T through Techno Hop or through other things?
Yeah. I mean, see, what people don't really know is back then, everybody was just comfortable with each other. You know, we would go see each other perform. I was a big Ice-T fan. And yeah, we kind of met, and I can't remember how, but we ended up kicking it together. And so, yeah, I guess you could say we met through Techno Hop and Uncle Jam's opening up for Uncle Jam's Army and things like that. And we opened up for Ice one time, I think. And that's where we met. And it just carried on from there. He took a real good liking to me. He took me on the road. He took me to Europe, you know, my first time. And hey, this was before the deal.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah, this is while I was on Techno Hop. So, you know, Ice always looked out for me. That's the Godfather, you know.
Absolutely. One of the all-time greats on many levels. And
Yeah.
with Ice in particular, like back then, did you understand that he was even then different as far as how he approached things, his vision, how he moved? Or was it
He was a don back then, because I mean, when I was in Houston, sorry about that. I saw him on the movie Breaking and all that, you know what I'm saying? So it was exciting to, you know, meet him and for him to take a liking to me. I mean, if it wasn't for Ice, there would be no King T. Trust me.
well,
You know.
I know I've known you a long time, and we've had many talks over the years, so I know you're kind of a laid back dude a lot of the time. But when you met him after seeing him in the movie and all that, was it one of those, oh shit, like that's really Ice-T?
Definitely. And I was young, and he saw something in me, even though I was wild, and I was, you know, starting my drinking thing up at that young age, and I was kind of overboard with it, but he took a liking to me, and you know, I'm here.
Be sure to check out the History of Gangster Rap by Soren Baker. He's official.
History of Gangster Rap features exclusive interviews with Ice-T, Snoop Dogg, MC Ren, the D.O.C, and dozens of others. The History of Gangster Rap, a definitive look at how Los Angeles changed rap forever.
In Los Angeles, the streets definitely set the tone of the hip-hop music.
At 19, I got a $50,000 car.
My whole angle always was, I'll be street, but I will always tell you the horrors that go along with this life.
It will be penalties and casualties for just wearing the wrong color in somebody's neighborhood.
And once gangster rap made it from the streets to the TV, the genre exploded.
With Fab 5 on your MTV Best with NWA.
Yo MTV, it just catapulted us from being local heroes to national gangbang rappers.
The history of gangster rap discusses it all from 1980 up till today.
It's always gonna be shit happening in the streets. You know what I mean? So it's always gonna be something to talk about.
The history of gangster rap in stores now.